Well, friends, very good afternoon to you all. Respected participant friends, all my revered teacher, trainees, educational officers, stakeholders in the sector of education. Friends, we are continuing our discussion on this very important, unit which has special importance for all of you for different purposes. Maybe for writing in B.Ed level or B.Ed course, maybe for writing in MPhil course, maybe for writing in Master Degree course, maybe for writing in degree level also, as well as maybe just to appear at TET examination. And for all, you should better study this, as well as for making yourself well acquainted with all the most important principles which you can follow or which you should better follow at the time of teaching or dealing students in different classes. You also will be benefited with the class, with the contents of the class. Friends, we were continuing discussion, means for last 2-3 days I have failed to continue my class because of some busy administrative activities. And this is 7th number class, and in last class we led to complete our discussion concerning to the principle, 7th number principle, that is indefinite to definite, and just completing that means the special characteristics of the principle of indefinite to definite. The concept I discussed in my last class, as well the drawbacks as well as the specialities of this principle is to be discussed today. And thenceforth we are to complete the last principle, that is empirical to rational. And after completing our discussion, we are to go to the next part, that is maxims of teaching. And today I will simply complete my discussion on empirical to rational principle. And once I complete my discussion, then on the discussion on the principles of teaching will be complete. Let us come back. Well, friends, what I do specially, I must have to pay my special thanks to you all, because you are sincerely and attentively taking part in all the classes. All my revered teacher friends, all honorable educational officers, all my respected well-wishers, at the same time the technical support hands, and all the authors of the sources of different authors of different books and research articles, there to be thanks so much. Well, because no knowledge is personal property, I am taking the help of some of the important writings, and basically these contents have been taken to the slide from my own book. Still, I express my sense of gratitude to all the dignified writers, research paper writers, participant friends, well-wishers, and technical support hand, as well as the dignified stakeholders and participants. Let us go back to the next one. So, friends, this is the last part. In the teaching learning situation, the teacher should properly deal with all the senses of the pupils. I told you, I discussed so much well. You certainly remember that senses are the gateways of learning. Sense training has special importance. Dr. Maria Montessori put special importance on sense training. Senses are the gateways of learning, and with the help of the following or the application of the principle of indefinite to definite, we can deal with all the capabilities of human senses, which play definite roles in the process of learning. So friends, it is the duty and responsibility of the teacher to lead the students systematically from indefinite situation or level of knowledge to the definite situation or level of knowledge. The parameter of knowledge is so much extensive. The world is very much extensive, and our place in the world is very much narrow. And that's why it is not so much easy to know all the realities which are behind the different phenomena, different events, situations and problems. Simply we can know a little part of the little part of realities of different phenomena, situations, events, matter, things, etc. of this universe. And that's why teachers are to start from indefinite and they are to bring their students or learners to the definite level of knowledge so that they become quite, they become quite fit for taking part in the process of, process of transformation of the economic system, process of transformation of the society as a whole. At the same time, they can uplift their own life status and situation. The teachers should provide certainty to the uncertain knowledge of the learners by using concrete and definite objects, fixtures, diagrams, models, examples, etc. Suppose you are to help your students understand about the whole world, then with the help of the globe you can teach your students. And suppose the military people, you have seen how they take the help of the map. And now things are, controlled from own place. With the help of the computer, things are to be controlled, and mapping or map has spatial significance or importance in different areas. So these are different pictures, diagrams, models, examples, etc. can be help of all these can be taken, and students may be given it may be created practical learning situation or situations before the students. This principle helps the teacher to give definite form of the teaching experiences and learner to form definite concepts from scattered ideas, concepts, information, knowledge, etc. This principle helps both the teacher and the learner to develop mental capabilities and give definite shape of the intellectual resources. Means knowledge, we are to make our students quite fit for the knowledge economy, for the knowledge market, and considering the demand of the knowledge market, we are to set the qualities of the students or attributes, inborn qualities or attributes of the students, and from the indefinite level we are to bring their qualities to the definite level so that according to the chance demand of the knowledge market, they can get the chance to develop their capabilities and become quite fit resource or human resources for taking part in different segments of economy as well as social life order. Let us go back to the next slide. Friends, the principle of indefinite to definite helps to develop psychic capabilities of the learners and give definite shape for systematic use of acquired knowledge. This is one of the most important psychological principles of teaching and learning. This principle helps to make teaching very systematic and learning very psychological. Without understanding the psychology of learning and without realizing own potentiality, no teacher can become successful in motivating the students towards the contents of teaching. So these two parameters do have special importance. The principle of indefinite to definite helps the teacher to begin his her teaching from broad perspective and lead learning to a definite form. It helps to experience more and learn more, but to store in different levels of memory little in very concrete manner. Teach less and help to learn more in very systematic manner for the preservation of psychic properties for future learning is the prime concern of this principle. Friends, the last line is not so much clear to you. I just am to repeat the last line. You see, there is a little bit technical problem at the time of preparing this slide. So, teach less and help to learn more. We should better teach less. Simply we are to create the situation of learning. We are to help students learn more. We shouldn't teach and teach. Simply we are to get them chance to take part in different learning situations as well as with the help of different activities we can give them more chances so that with less teaching we can help them learn more in very systematic manner for the preservation of psychic, for the preservation of psychic capabilities or properties for future learning in the is the prime concern of this principle of teaching as well as teaching in the classroom situation. Let us go back to the next slide. So what are the drawbacks, friends? We can continue this the discussion. So it is not so much good for making the discussion so much lengthy. You are quite matured and you can understand. By understanding the contents, you can write whatever you like to write in your examination. And once you are in different situations for the realization of different objectives, you can write from your own side. Let us discuss the minus point or the drawbacks of this principle. The principle of indefinite to definite is not free from drawbacks. This principle has certain limitations. We have to know the limitation. For the successful application of this principle, teachers should have systematic knowledge about the theories, laws and methods of learning. Friends, that's why it is repeated that there is the demand of training of the teachers. Teachers are to be well trained. Without having training, teachers cannot know or teachers cannot get information relating to all these important parameters of psychology, which have special linkage with the process of teaching and which have special bearing on the process of learning. Teaching has certain objectives in all situations and settings. The primary objective of teaching is learning, as learning is of the learners depends on psychophysical maturity, environmental conditions, motivations of the learners, interest and attention of the learners. The teacher must know all the aspects in detailed manner. The teacher should know the learners and understand own capabilities to help the learners learn as per their capabilities. In the principle of indefinite to definite, the teacher should know where from he is to begin and lead the students to which point or level. If it is not well known, if the teacher does not have proper knowledge of psychology, if the teacher does not know the theories of learning, if the teacher does not have any knowledge concerning to the theories of learning, then for the laws of learning, he or she cannot become successful in applying this principle in the practical field of teaching. And once he or she fails, then he or she cannot help students become so much interested towards the learning contents or towards learning so much well, and learning of the students cannot become so much fruitful or successful. Let us go back to the next one. Then the principle of indefinite to definite is not free from drawbacks. This principle has certain limitations. We have done this, we have go back to the next one. The term, now let us, the discussion has been completed here. These are the drawbacks, means the knowledge of psychology, particularly for the teacher, has special importance. If the teacher does not have proper knowledge concerning to psychology, learning theories, learning methods, learning principles, learning laws, then teacher cannot become so much successful in following or applying the principle of indefinite to definite. And that's why all teachers are to be well trained, or they are to be trained so much well, and without training, the knowledge of psychology the teachers cannot get. And we are to discuss the last number of principle, that is empirical to rational today, and we are to complete this one. This is the number 8 principle, friends, which has special importance in the field of teaching, particularly in higher level of teaching. This principle has special applicability or special importance. Let us first see the meaning of the term empirical and rational, where from these terms are originated. We are to see and we are to understand the meaning, and thenceforth we will understand other things. The term empirical is derived from the Greek term empirikos. Empirical very simply means based on observation or experience. It is experience based, means in the field of science, in the field of teaching scientific subjects, this principle has spatial applicability, or the prospect of applicability of this principle you see, is much more rather than theory or logic. On the other hand, the term rational very simply means based on reason or logic. It indicates the capacity to think scientifically or logically. Thus, the principle empirical to rational generally indicates that teaching should begin from the observation or experience, and it should proceed to reason. This is one of the most important principles of teaching, which lays importance on experience and reason. So friends, two parameters do have special importance. One is experience is the best teacher, and reason is the best way for storing logically all the learned information. Teaching should be based on observation or experience of the teacher, and from observation or experience, the teacher should lead the students towards the point of reason or logic. Logical summarization has special importance, and the teacher is to depend on observation as well as practical experience in the field of teaching. Let us go back to the next one. Logical summarization of the learning experiences has special importance in the process of learning. Students should be given chance or the teacher is to create situation where the students get the chance to observe the learning situation systematically and from their own observation, so that they can rationalize their learning outcomes. It was Rousseau, the great France, educationist, the father of the child-centric. He is basically known as the father of the child-centric tendency in modern education, who also favored negative education, not the existing education, not the traditional education, laid special importance on the principle of empirical to rational. Rousseau says there must be no other book than the world. We have to learn from the world. We have to go back to nature. We have to learn. Rousseau, pointed out towards three most important teachers: nature, man, and things. We have to learn from nature. We have to learn from the contact of human contact, means man, and we are to learn from keeping contact with things of the universe. So these are the three best teachers according to Rousseau, and his idea of negative education basically has close linkage with all these concepts. The guiding principle of Rousseau's theories, which we can know from his masterpiece, the Emile is his masterpiece, and we can know everything else because in Emile, Rousseau has elaborated or he has explained in detailed manner what should be the approach of teaching and how education is to be imparted and where from we can learn instead of learning in formal educational setting. According to him, there should be no verbal lessons. See, this is the viewpoint of Rousseau. The pupils should be taught by experience alone. Experience is the best teacher. He says, present interest. You are to create interest. This is the motive power, the only motive power which takes us far and safely. We learn nothing from a lesson we detest. Means a lesson which the students do not like, they cannot learn anything else for their practical purposes of life, for the accomplishment of different activities in their life situations. So, lessons should be so much tested. Lessons should be so much, interested. So friends, this is the most important saying of Rousseau, the test. It should be T-A-S-T-E, taste, not T-E-S-T. Yes, let us go back to the next slide. The principle of empirical to rational lays more stress on sense trading. Senses are the gateways of learning. Rousseau said, let us go back to nature. Nature is generous. We learn so many things from nature. I have mentioned you that man, things and nature, these are the three teachers wherefrom we can learn. Let us learn from our own life. Means experience is the best teacher. Without experience, we never can learn. And for getting experience, or for having experiences or for the accumulation accumulation of experiences, we have to be so much practical, and we have to face the diversities as well as the challenges. And once we face the diversities, the challenges, we learn so many things, and such kind of learning are so much practical, and with the help of practical learning we can make our life quite free for different challenges which are there in our life situation. So friends, the principle of empirical to rational lays more importance on sense training. Why? Senses, as mentioned our earlier discussions, we have mentioned are the gateways to the mind, or the windows of the soul, or the mind's first schoolmasters. Senses are the mind's schoolmasters. Senses are the gateways. These are the doors of human mind, windows of human soul. These are the teachers of our mind. These are the teachers of our soul. So friends, senses do have special importance in the field of learning. Therefore, we are to help our children learn with the help of experience and observation of different situations, events, things, beings, etc. of their total surroundings. They are to be helped to learn with the help of their own experiences. This principle helps to the teachers to make their teaching very practical and learning of the students very effective and joyful. So friends, learning should be joyful. The test means where there is no taste at all. The spelling was not correctly written. T-A-S-T-E. The test means where there is no taste at all. So friends, National Policy on Education 2019 has given ample opportunities to the teachers as well as students to learn or to select their subjects according to own choice or according to own interest. Let us go back to the next slide. The principle of empirical to rational lays special stress on making the students' empirical knowledge and experience more rational, so that the learners can make their learning outcomes valid and definite. In the classroom situations, subjects like geography, history, literature, science, mathematics, designing, environmental science, etc. may be taught with the help of this principle more successfully. Teachers of geography may teach geography by the observation of different events like tsunami, earthquake, cyclone, etc. in practical fields. They may also bring their children to different places and help the students see and learn. History may also be taught with the help of observation of different events, situations and places. Friends, tsunami, as for example, as researchers in laboratory situation, you never can create situation of tsunami. So friends, you are to go to the practical field. You are to wait and you are to see the data, scrutinize the data going to the sea or going to particular place where tsunami can take place. Let us go back to the next slide. This subject may also be taught with the help of stories, experience of travels and creative activities of adventures. Means geography. Astronomy, this means geography. Astronomy may be taught with the help of giving the chance to watch heavenly phenomena. Botany may be taught with the help of offering practical situation to see plant kingdom. Physics, chemistry, anthropology, etc. may be taught with the help of observation, experiment on the through analysis of matter, things, situations and natural phenomena. Literature may be taught with the help of systematic conversation, discussions on the proper observation of practical situations of life. Thus, with the help of the principle of empirical to rational, students may be helped to learn in an orderly manner, and such kind of with the help of this principle means all higher class learning situation or problems may well be settled or placed before the students, and their learning with the help of this principle can be made so much practical and scientific, and rationally and scientifically students can be helped to learn different events, different situations, phenomena, contents of learning, as well as teachers can also teach. Let us go back to the next slide. The principle of empirical to rational drawbacks means we are discussing now has certain drawbacks. This principle can be applied in all situations of teaching and learning as well. especially in lower classes, students of teen ages cannot be taught with the help of the principle of empirical to rational. For the application of this principle, there is the need of psychophysical maturity of the learners. If the learners do not possess empirical and rational power, they cannot learn difficult concepts and phenomena. For the systematic application of this principle, there is the need of proper psychological knowledge. Therefore, without the knowledge of research and educational psychology, teachers cannot apply this principle in an orderly manner. So friends, always I am repeating the same term, that the knowledge of psychology has special importance for every teacher, because we are to deal with human psychology as well as we are to deal with human physiological capabilities. Both psychology and human physiological characteristics play special or significant roles in the process of learning. So friends, we learn not only with the help of our psychic order, but also we learn with the help of our physiological organs, particularly the senses. Once we say, then these are the physiological organs or parts of our body with the help of which we can keep contact with the greater universe or world. And for becoming successful in the field of teaching, we are to be well acquainted with all the concepts, theories of psychology. At the same time, we are to do research in the field, and for becoming successful researcher, all these contents do have special importance. And we are to live here today because the special characteristics of the principle of empirical to rational, as well as the drawbacks of this principle, means the principle of empirical to rational, we have discussed so much well. And here is the declaration from my side of the end of discussion concerning to all the most important principles. And we are to now discuss the second part, means the maxims of teachings, which we are to discuss or start in next class. So in the next class, we will start our discussion on the maxim of teaching or maxims of teaching. In B.Ed level, sometimes if it is asked to write about the principle of teaching, students write, or the trainees write about the maxims of teaching. And sometimes it is asked to write, if it is asked to write about the maxims of teaching, they write about the principles of teaching. So we are to be quite mindful at the time of keeping in mind or finding out the differences between the principles of teaching as well as the maxims of teaching. So principles of teaching, about all the principles, up to 8 principles we have discussed thoroughly, and we are to start our discussion on the maxims of teaching part. I will do in my next class on this part. Thank you so much. You should study well, prepare well, face all situations, and study National Policy on Education 2019 too. Thank you so much.